Let's create our first note. At the top left of your screen, you'll see an icon to create a new text note. Select that for me. The very first time you create a note within the Evernote app, you may get two requests. The first one will allow you to access the calendar, and the second one will allow you to access location services. I suggest that you accept both of those requests. This is a huge time saver for you. Any appointment that you already have in your calendar, if you create a note during the time that that appointment is scheduled on your calendar, it'll suggest that as the name for your note. So for example, on my calendar on my device, I currently have an appointment for Evernote training. If you look at the top of the screen for my new note, you'll see that it has given it a default title of Note from Evernote Training. Another thing that will happen is that if I click on the More information, I can add a location, and it will automatically show exactly where I am. And this is a huge time saver for me because suppose that I forget to put the title for my note, or if I get to put a location for my note, by having both of those built into the Evernote app, it can help me identify what my notes were from and give them a proper title later. Let's look at some basic formatting options. I'm going to tap in the center of my screen so that I am able to begin typing. Anything that you type will automatically show up. So let's talk about some organizing as we go into this. First of all, I'm going to put some bullet points in, so if you look at about the middle of your screen right above your keyboard, you can add in bullets quickly. So one of the key features of Evernote is being able to organize your notes into notebooks. I'm going to go ahead and move over now by using the Tab Over option to give a subpoint for my bullet. I want you to think of notebooks as being like subject dividers. So for example, you might have notebooks that are unit plans, or you might have notebooks for back to school, or you might have a notebook for a conference that you attend. If you take a look up at the top of your screen, if you'll tap where it says First Notebook, you can create notebooks. So I'm going to call this a training notebook, and I'll hit the plus button to create it. And now my note will be stored in my training notebook. I'm going to tap on my screen to go back to where I'm taking notes. And I'm going to hit the Enter button, and when I do, I need to make a second bullet point for tags. Now that we've talked about notebooks, let's talk about tags. So if I want to go back, instead of having a sub point underneath notebooks, I need to use the back in order to create my next main bullet point, which as I said will be tags. We'll move forward to create our sub point. Tags, I want you to consider these like a tape flag or a bookmark. So within your subject divider, you might have different pieces of information that you want to further subdivide. So this is what you use tags for. They're used to group information from different notebooks. Some example of tags you might use might be Chris strategy, or Singapore math, or iPad information, or Civil War. So I'm going to add a tag to this note. I'm going to click on the More button, and right next to where it says Training, which is what notebook this is in, I can add a tag. And the tag I'm going to add in here is Grouping. So now grouping is highlighted in green, and if I were to make other notes and put the grouping tag on them, then they would all be grouped together. At this point, I'm done with all the changes I want to make to my note at this time, so I'm going to click the Save button up in the top right-hand corner.